Hello my viewers, welcome back to the channel. My video title, you know what this video is about. Today we are doing, of course, our mock draft 7.0. We got one more left. The last one will be next week. This is our mock draft 7.0. I hope you guys are tuned in. I hope you guys are ready to see exactly what we're gonna get. This draft right here, I did a pretty good job, I think. It's one of my better ones I did in a while. I kind of went a different approach. I went offense a little early in the draft, so we'll see what happens. You know, you can't do the same approach every draft. So last time I made a big time trade, the fantasy trade, on trading my future second round pick and my future first and second round pick to trade it up to get Shedeur Sanders. Now it might cost more to get that, but you never know what could happen like that. You never know exactly what could go on, because if he passed the Saints, he might can land up in Pittsburgh. That would be great, but I doubt he get even get down that low like that. So we'll see what happens, of course, fully. But without further ado, let me dive into my 7.0 mock draft and get right into the first pick, which is right now. With my first pick, I actually traded back in the draft. I got a trade offer from the Commanders. So I swapped first with the Commanders, and I got their, and I traded my third round pick. I counter offer. So they were trying to trade back with me like that, but I counter offer with it. So I traded back with the Commanders. I swapped with their first round pick, so jumping from 21 to 29. And I also gave our third round pick for next year, and a fifth for next year as well, to get their second round pick for this year, which is the 61, the 61st pick, like that. So I did that, made a move, and I kind of went back to add more picks for us. Okay, so the first pick, I went with Amari Hampton, running back, North Carolina. You guys know I mentioned Amari Hampton before, not on this channel, but on the Steelers Syndicate channel. Like that, if you connect with all the channels, I mentioned him on there and discussed him a lot. He's a guy who's very good. You look at his stats, you know, he had 1,660 rushing yards last year, 15 rushing touchdowns as well, 38 receptions, and also 373 receiving yards last year with 2 receiving touchdowns. Back-to-back 1,700 plus scrimmage yard seasons, including last year. He almost had, I think, about basically 2,000 scrimmage yards around that range, or very close to it. He has elite burst. He runs with power, of course. You know, he runs through the gap well like that. He kind of shoot at the cannon, almost like in the bit, and he just make a lot of plays. 6 foot, being 220 pounds. He just has that versatility to catch up the backfield. You know, also to do different things, of course, for you like that. And power run scheme, you know, up the gut, you know, on the outside, getting to the edge as well, because he had good speed, he's very explosive, and have good balance as well. You know, a lot of the running backs in this draft, the ones I try to get for the Steelers, I got the Cam Scatterbo, you know, Amari Hampton being a top level guy. I think Ashton Jeanty and Amari Hampton are the top 2 guys. But a lot of these running backs I want the Steelers to get, or one of the ones I want them to get, like DJ Giddens as well, another guy who I had us drafted a few times in the mock, are guys who can maintain balance, guys who are good at leverage and staying in pad level size and being able to put their head down and go through stuff. Not put your head down too far where you're hurting yourself, of course, but going out there and just like having good ball vision like that, ball carrier vision, and hitting those gaps and making those plays. And Amari Hampton has elite level style of play like that. As you've seen the production, of course, he had at college the past 2 years. He's a very good running back. He has good burst. He got size to him as well. So I think that would be great. The Steelers want to add playmakers. I know the Steelers talk about offense. They want to bring those playmakers in. He has Jalen Warren on the team, which is good, but he's not an all-down purpose back. You know, he has some injury history as well. And then you look at Kenneth Gainwell, you know, he's pretty solid and too as well. But bringing in a guy like this, Amari Hampton, to pair with DK Metcalf, to pair with George Pickens, you know, and kind of see how his offense can get going. Like you boost up and add those playmakers around. I think it'll make the quarterback job, whatever quarterback is here, is playing, job easy, and make a lot of people's job easier as well. And you see more production as well. So if a guy like Amari Hampton is still available, even if you trade back, you take a guy like that, because he's a big time player. He's gonna make a lot of big time plays for you, and he's gonna come out the gate with elite bursts and stuff. I know a lot of guys don't like taking running backs in the first round, but it's a different area. We're seeing Bijan Robinson go out there and get the Falcons, taking the first round. Barkley's, the Najee Harris on our team have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. But the Steelers didn't do him justice. They never adjusted to his play style fully. But he's gonna shine. Watch with the Chargers, he's gonna shine very well. The Chargers gonna do a good job in adjusting to it. You know, John Harbaugh is one of the best run game coaches like that we've seen, of course, you know, in college and also in the NFL too. You're gonna see everywhere he went with the 49ers, with the Chargers last year as well. And when he was in Michigan, he always had his team going out there and running the ball very well. So you're going to see him go out there and showcase a lot of that. But I think Amari Hampton getting to Pittsburgh will be very good. He'll fit right in Arthur Smith's scheme and stuff. His versatility, his quickness, and his burst he have. It'll be as amazing to have a playmaker like that on the in the backfield for you and stuff. So I went with Amari Hampton with my first pick. And let's dive into my next pick in the draft. My next pick, you know, the pick that DB Khan drafted was with TJ Sanders. second round, the 61st pick. As you guys know, I made the trade, of course, like I mentioned earlier. Made the trade with the Commanders. TJ Sanders from South Carolina, D lineman. He's 6'4", 297 pounds. He had 4 sacks last year, 5 sacks the year before. Has violent hands. Violent hands, he can use those hands, and they quick and fast hands, always stand active. We see him disrupt things in the passing lanes as well, and can get there and get home. He put his hand up and make those plays. We see him use his quick hands to be able to adjust, to break off, to create separation. He does a good job of creating separation in one-on-one situation, you know, with different O-linemen like that. You know, when they own him, he has those violent hands, that strength and stuff, using different techniques, the rip move, using scissor counters, using all type of moves, swim moves, everything you can think of. He uses bull rush. He has the versatility of pass rushing skills to get to the quarterback, and he also has the versatility, of course, and quickness and agile ability, of course, as well, to play all through the line. He played from 0 tech to 5 technique all through the line like that. So he's been able to play different parts of the line, and you show his versatility, his quickness, his lateral quickness helps him get to the gaps and hold the gaps and get to the gaps fast and stuff, and make plays in the run game as well. So TJ Sanders is a pretty good player. I think the Steelers should have him on their radar. I know I haven't mentioned him a lot on the channel. I think the top guys the Steelers are looking at probably, of course, you know, the Kenneth Grants, the Derek Harmons, of course. You look at Walter Nolan's another guy as well. Tyleek Williams, another guy as well. You know, some of those guys right there might be the top guys, of course. But TJ Sanders would be a nice addition to add on too. I feel like he has a lot of raw, untapped talent. I think he's 21 years old, so there's a lot of raw, untapped talent. You watch him play, you see his relentlessness. You see his ability, the athleticism, kind of rely more athleticism than technique at times. But he do have technique, of course, as well. I feel like working with the right people will get him kind of right, and you see him develop into something very good. I think the Steelers do a good job at developing front guys, and his name is TJ Sanders. So we might have to find a different nickname for him. It'd be funny if the Steelers drafted Shedeur Sanders and then you drafted TJ Sanders. You have 2 TJs and Sanders on both teams, like be a little crazy and stuff. So if you do get drafted, we already got TJ here. Hopefully the Steelers can extend TJ Watt contract as well. I'll make a video about that, of course. I probably already, by the time you see this video, I probably made a video already about that, or maybe on Steelers Syndicate or something. But I'm definitely gonna make a video about that on here, of course, as well. TJ Sanders, it's gonna be a nice addition, but I like to keep TJ Watt around as well. TJ Watt is a phenomenal player. You know, without him playing, the Steelers have a losing record. You can keep that guy like that around. He need to be a Steelers lifer. He need to retire in the Steelers uniform. So hopefully they can get that done. But I want TJ Sanders because his versatility, his ability to consistently win, and the race to the gap over and over. If you watch him play like that, making big time plays, he always stay active like that. He always find a way to get it done. I love guys who have that high motor, something you can't really teach, something that you just gotta have in you. And TJ Sanders go out there and make that happen. So I'm taking my second pick. I'm moving on now, next to my third pick in the draft. With the third pick in my mock draft, me as DB Khan, I've drafted Jonah Sawania, inside lineman from Arizona. The third pick, he's 6'4", 324 pounds. You're probably thinking, offensive lineman, it's the first time he did that. I know I did it in the Steelers Syndicate, my draft, but I did on here for the first time. I know I took an old tackle like late rounds a few times on these drafts right here, but I went a little early like that. He was still available. He's ranked, I think, 64th, 65th, ranked in the top 100 college players. He's got a lot of potential as well, like that. You know, the Steelers, of course, got Zach Frazier, who's good. Of course, you got McCormick. You got Broderick Jones, you have Tropatanu, the young guy, but you also got Siamalu, who's a little older, who had injury history as well. So I feel like adding a guy like Jonah would be nice to bring in. A big frame, inside lineman, you know, playing all different positions and up there. You know, he has patience, and, you know, and he also has quick hands as well. And for his size, he has good athleticism. I know his athleticism is limited to some extent, but for the guy 300-something pounds, he has good quickness from initial point of attack and stuff, and making plays and showing he can get to the second level sometimes and make plays too. He has good IQ as well, great awareness, you know, spatial awareness and stuff, knowing how to space certain things and pass protection and run blocking as well. So he does a good job. So I think the Steelers need to add a guy like that. Maybe in the third round, you can bring in, of course, inside lineman. I know for the Steelers Syndicate channel, I think I drafted Grant. What's his first name? It was Grant from hey, what college? What college was he? I got back and look at it, but I drafted one. I think my fourth pick or something like that. So I had to bring another guy in. So I brought in Jonah. I feel like that'd be good for the Steelers to go that approach. The Steelers did hit on GM last year with McCormick. McCormick was very good. He was a 4th round pick. Came in, made a lot of plays, and you know, so it's always good to stay young and healthy and fresh and have depth, of course, in the interior O-line and the outside O-line too as well. Like that, we'll see if the Steelers add some more of that. But my draft right here, I was like, hey, you got a guy right there, Jonah, bring him in. Bring that guy in, can come in and be a good depth piece and can develop maybe one day to be a full-time starter. Especially I just seen Malu is what, 30, 31 years old, getting a little older. So bring a guy like that, I think it'll be very good. So I drafted him my 3rd pick. Let's move on next to my 4th pick. My 4th pick is a guy that you guys see me draft many times on this channel, and that is Jalen Reed. Jalen Reed, of course, safety from Penn State. I love his versatility, his ability to play all around the secondary. You know, I've seen him line up at linebacker, seen him line up in the nickel, seen him line up all different type of spots around like that. You know, as a safety, you know, he manned up, he's sitting zone coverage, has good IQ, good play recognition as well, recognizing the quarterback, and just reading the quarterback, just like going out there just making plays like that. He's a good tackler too, so having a guy who's physical, who want to go out there and make plays and tackle is very good. So you probably can line him up anywhere. So it's always good to have good depth, especially a DB who is versatile. You know, we got DeShun Elliott on our team, who does a lot of things too like that are similar. So bring another guy in like that. Jalen Reed would be cool. As you guys know, the Steelers secondary did have some injuries last year. We've seen some guys get injured. DeShun Elliott got injured. We've seen Minka Fitzpatrick. He got banged up a little bit one time, and then we see George Porter Jr. get injured, of course, as well. We've seen Corey Trice. He missed a lot of games at one point too. So Dusty Jackson, last year as well, missed a lot of games too. So the secondary, you can always have enough, like, add depth in there to add guys, especially a guy like Jalen Reed, who's very versatile at Penn State. You know, not too far away either as well. So I think adding him would be very good and stuff. He has potential to be maybe a consistent, solid starter as well in this league if he stays with that. They're still going to do a good job in developing him, especially him learning under the Minka Fitzpatricks, learning under the DeShun Elliott and all the different guys we have there. So that'd be nice. I went with Jalen Reed again. Let me move on next to my 5th pick in the draft. For the 5th pick in the draft, I went with Kobe Bryant. Not the basketball player, RP. I went with Kobe Bryant, C-O-B-E-E. Bryant from Kansas, the cornerback, 6 foot, 180 pounds. 4 interceptions last year, 1 sack last year, 1 forced fumble. He has good ball production. He makes a lot of plays. He had over his career 13 total interceptions, 22 pass breakups. He always active and he plays very competitive, very aggressive, and very physical as well. You know, I love cornerbacks who are not afraid. Like I mentioned before last time, and so you rather move the sticks than give up sticks. Like that, and he's one of the cornerbacks that does that. You know, he play. Of course, sometimes the cornerbacks like that can get a little handsy, might get holding penalties and stuff. But having a guy like this would be very cool. Physical, playing the ball in the air. Has he might be the fastest in the sense of, like, 4.5 is still fast, of course, but people act like nowadays 4.5 is slow because of the way the guys are running now. But he still has technique and good IQ as well. He sit in the zone well. He plays very good zone defense. I just sit in the zone like that and watching the quarterback. He read the quarterback almost like a safety in a sense. He could probably play safety if he wanted to. You know, has a solid tackling as well. He make a lot of big time plays. You know, that he always find a way to be active around the ball and make plays. Good and press man coverage as well. So it's always good to have a guy like Kobe Bryant from Kansas, cornerback, to bring him in would be nice. The Steelers, of course, like I mentioned, the secondary earlier in this video, we have, of course, Darius Slay, the veteran, of course, Super Bowl champion veteran, maybe a Hall of Famer in the future too as well. I don't know about first ballot, but maybe like later down the line, maybe a Hall of Famer. He's a multiple-time first-team All-Pro and Pro Bowler and stuff. Made a lot of big-time plays in this league for a long time with the Lions and with the Eagles and stuff. You know, we have him there. We got Joey Porter Jr., who's trying to get himself to being that Pro Bowl level, that All-Pro type corner as well. And then you have, of course, B.D. Bishop Jr., you have Corey Trice, and that's kind of mostly the main guys you really have. So I feel like, oh yeah, and also Eccles. Was it Eccles, I think? Nichols or Eccles, one of them, things from the Jets. That one guy right from the Jets who's pretty solid. But I think Kobe Bryant would be good to have. You bring a guy in like that, bring a young cornerback in to be a depth piece, to rotate in, because you're definitely going to use it. Because Steelers, the way we play kind of like defensively, we utilize a lot of different guys like that, especially guys who have versatility. Like a guy like this would be good. Steelers love to sit in the zone defense for some reason with Terrell Austin as the physical coordinator. So I think Kobe Bryant will probably get a lot of use. At least he plays the zone defense well. He knows how to read the route combinations and be patient and then burst and break off and make plays and stuff. And he have good decision making. So I think he'll be a nice addition to bring to the team, and he'll fit right well, with our defense and stuff, especially with the physicality part. So I went with Kobe Bryant for my 5th pick. Let me move on next to my 6th pick in this 7.0 mock draft. Actually, this is my other 5th round pick. I forgot to mention, of course, the trade I did, the other trade. I know I did the Commanders trade, but I did another trade as well. The Seahawks offered me a trade during the simulation, because simulation I have on advanced mode, so they can offer you trades. They do counter trades and stuff. They offered me a trade, and I traded back with them. So it went from 123rd pick to the 137th pick, and we also got the 172nd pick as well, and a round 5 pick for 2026. So I got an extra 5th round pick for that. Like, they're just moving back a few spots. And with that pick, I went on there to select Ty Felton, from Maryland, receiver from Maryland. Ty Felton is 6'2". I mentioned on the channel before, 6'2", 182 pounds, 96 receptions last year, 1,124 receiving yards last year. He has elite speed. Elite speed, he's very crafty, can create separation. And it's always good to have a receiver who can do that. And the Steelers have, of course, GP. You got DK Metcalf, those big time guys who can make big time plays, physical plays down the field and stuff. But having a guy who is very shifty, who can move the sticks, can route you up and stuff would be cool too. Especially with this size, this height as well. So he has elite speed, he can create space very good. Playmaker after the catch as well when the ball is in his hand, making plays. Very explosive and very shifty as well. Great on timing routes as well, like that. Like I mentioned, of course, receivers having that IQ, a good on timing routes. Some routes where you got to run. You can't run too fast, you can't run too slow. You got to be in there and sync with the quarterback. So when the play happens, like a play action pass, a guy might run the sluggo like that. He might run the sluggo a little slower and then burst off like that. When the quarterback does turn around, we do the pump fake and then throw it out like that, or maybe a stop and go. He might run in a certain way. So just having that IQ like that. He's very good at those timing routes and making big time plays. Good hands as well. This is good, and also getting like through the zone as well too. Some guys that see the zone defense, they just run right to like that. He's a guy who knows where to sit and find a soft spot in the zone, and knowing how to route to get his quarterback his attention. Hence why he got 96 receptions, of course, last year. It's probably his best season too as his career, because I think the year before that he had 700 yards. He made a big time leap his last year. He's a guy who will find his quarterback and QB friendly as well, and has good IQ, I think, good awareness. So I think Ty Felton would be a great addition to add to the team. Add more weapons, of course. We don't know what's going to happen, of course, with GP. If you're going to get a contract extension. Ty Felton is a 5th round pick, but receivers, you can develop. The Steelers do a good job of developing receivers no matter where they are. Where they can be from the 7th round or the 1st round. The Steelers do a good job of developing receivers and getting them done. Now, there's a few guys who didn't really work out well. With Pittsburgh, it kind of worked out. Like Chase Claypool, he worked out solidly with Pittsburgh. You look at his numbers his first year, 11 touchdowns, 800 yards. Following year, 800 yards and stuff, and Steelers traded them eventually. And then now, I don't know where he's at. And you look at Jesse Johnson, he had 100+ catches 1 year, 1,000 yards, made the Pro Bowl 1 year, and he got traded, and he's been with the Texans, got cut, Ravens got cut, back to the Ravens, and all type of things been going on with him. With the Panthers too, got cut from there, so there's a lot of different things. So the Steelers did a good job. Marcus Whedon, Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, look at all the different guys. Except Emmanuel Sanders is probably the only person who left the Steelers and still maintained being good. Got even better, actually. Won a Super Bowl and stuff with Peyton Manning. Probably playing with Peyton Manning helped out a lot. But besides him, Michael Wallace only had a pretty good, maybe like a year or something like that. Plaxico Burress did, his thing, of course, with the Giants. And, Mike Wallace had probably a good year with the Dolphins and stuff. He had 1 year with the Ravens where he put up 1,000 yards. But, really, when they left the Steelers, it wasn't really like the same level. The Steelers did a good job of developing receivers and bringing the best out of them. So Ty Felton, I think his route running ability, he kind of fit that mold with the Steelers like. Route running guys who are good, run the catch guys, playmakers as well with the ball in their hands. So you can do those little motion screens, you can do crossing routes, get the ball to him on a drag or something, get the ball to him in space, and let him go out there and play. I think Ty Felton will fit well here. So we'll see exactly what happens with GP if the Steelers decide to extend him. I know they extend TJ Watt. I mentioned it earlier in the video already. I'm going to keep mentioning it. So they extend him. Extend TJ Watt to a big-time contract, and then also, see how everything else kind of shape out. So, I took Ty Felton with my 5th round pick. Now I move on to my 6th round pick and my 7th round pick, my last 2 picks of the draft. My last 2 picks of the draft, my 6th round pick, I took Tyler Barron, Miami edge rusher, like I took last mock draft. He's got explosiveness as well, has strong hands as well, like that. He's relentless, getting up there, and he can win one-on-one matchups and situations and stuff as well, and just stay hustling and make plays. Of course, we see him make some good plays. I know sometimes he can get a little overzealous and sometimes not going to have to play at times and stuff. Him, like his 6th round pick, but I feel like in the right system with the Steelers, the way we do a good job of developing the edge rushers, he could develop into a pretty solid rotational piece and maybe a solid starter one day in the future as well. I think Tyler Barron would be nice to bring in, because we have TJ Watt, we have Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig is there as well. Bring another guy in for a depth piece to bring some versatility to your pass rushing room and mix some things up a lot. And then my last pick, of course, I went with Malachi Moore. I drafted Malachi Moore before many times. Usually not in the 7th round. He's usually around 5th, 6th round, but this time he was in the 7th round. Took Malachi Moore, as I mentioned Malachi Moore many times. He kind of similar to Jalen Reed, a DB who can play all around, you know. So adding that guy who you can pick, like say, oh, we got a guy went down. He can play nickel. This guy can play as a corner if he have to. He can play guard in the slot. He can do all type of things. Play safety, you know, full safety. He can play free safety, all around like that. He can be a linebacker. He can be everything. You can have him blitz in. You can have him sitting zone coverage, pressed up, man to man. So Malachi Moore has versatility like that. So I've just decided to draft him. You know, basically bring him in since I already hit on all the pieces we need. So this is my mock draft 7.0. You know, I went and got, of course, Amari Hampton first. When I traded back with the Commanders to get an extra second round pick, I traded back with them, swapped the first, and went with Amari Hampton at pick 29. At pick 61, I went T.J. Sanders, D lineman from South Carolina. At pick 83, I went with Jonah Savania from Arizona. I went with Jalen Reed at pick 137. I went with Kobe Bryant with pick 156. I went with Ty Felton at pick 172. And I went with Tyler Barron at pick 185. And I went Malachi Moore at pick 229. So yeah, this is my mock draft 7.0. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to subscribe for more content, the last one is coming up. The last one will be here next week on Friday. So be on the lookout for that and tune in for that. And I'll see you guys when I see you next time on the channel. Peace out.